Hello everyone, welcome back to this channel. We have already started our playlist and in this video we are going to study about sampling techniques. What is sampling, why it is used and what are the types of sampling. Okay, because these things we will come across later on. I have written this small blog. I'll explain from here and if you want you can refer it for your revision. Okay. Uh, Now let's start. What is sampling? Sampling is a process of selecting a subset of participants from a larger group. What does it mean? Means, suppose I'll give you an example. Like in your class, you have total 100 students. Okay. Now the inspector comes and he wants to know how the class performs. Now what he can do? He can ask everyone or he can select some people and ask them. Then he will be able to understand that averagely how it performs. Okay. So suppose he asks 10 students instead of 100 and he questions them and he gets his answer that how they are actually performing. So this technique is known as sampling technique. That's what it is said here. Selecting a subset of participants from a larger group. Okay, so technique is known as sampling. The process is known as sampling. And the larger group, this is known as the population. And the smaller subset, this is known as the sample. So this is population, this is sample, this technique is known as sampling. Clear? Now why it is required? You can guess. First of all, you don't have time, you don't have resource, and you just don't want to ask 100 students because you don't need. So if you just ask 10, your job will be done. You will be get an average score. Think it in your bigger terms. Suppose in your town you have 10,000 people and you want to know about the average height of the people. So you cannot go and ask every door to know about them. What you can do? You can just select some people and then make an average. Okay. Suppose you want to know about the customer purchase or behavior. So you cannot ask every customer who is coming out of the supermarket and ask them how is their purchasing behavior, what they want, what they are preferring, what they are not liking. Randomly you can ask some people and can make a guess that these are the things we can improve. So you get my point why we need sampling because we don't have that much of time, source, efficiency, energy, and we don't need also. Okay. Now let's understand the techniques by which we can sample. Okay. Sampling is of two types, probability sampling, non-probability sampling. Now what is probability sampling? Now suppose the inspector come and chooses 10 random students. Okay. So this is known as probability sampling. But when it is not random, but he thinks something, he has some idea and based on that he is selecting some students. He is selecting 10 only. But he may choose random or he may not choose random. Fine. So first one is known as probability where he is making random choice and the second one is non-probability sampling. Okay. Now probability sampling is of many types, but we will study some techniques. Okay. Now first, suppose the teacher thinks that I will choose anyone. One, roll number 5, roll number 9, roll number 15. There is no rules. That is known as simple random sampling. Simply you are just selecting some students. Find this one. Completely random fashion. Next one is systematic sampling. That means selects every nth member. Now suppose he chooses 1, then 10, then 20, then 30. So here he selects every nth number. This is known as systematic sampling. You are choosing randomly, but in a systematic manner. Okay. Now the third one is stratified sampling, cluster sampling. Stratified and cluster, that means you have 100 students. So first you create 10 groups of 10 people. Okay. Now 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And you make clusters of 10. Okay. So every cluster contains 10 people. 10 into 10, total 100 people. Fine. Now what is cluster sampling and what is stratified sampling? First you have made the clusters. Now you can do two things. Like choosing one from here, choosing one from here, choosing one from here, choosing one from here, from here, from here. So you are choosing one person from every 10 groups. So you will get total 10 people. This is what is known as stratified sampling. Fine. Instead, now you can do one thing. You have already divided them into 10 clusters. Now you say that I don't want to go each clusters. I will take randomly one cluster. I take this one on random. So in this cluster, I'll get total 10 people and I will ask questions from them. So you understand the difference? In both cases, you are making the clusters, but in stratified sampling, you are choosing one from each cluster. But in cluster sampling, you are choosing the whole cluster. That is what is the difference between stratified and cluster. Okay, there is no nothing 10 or 1. It's like you have a big population, you are dividing the population into different kind of strata. Now in stratified sampling, you are selecting some populations from every strata, and for cluster sampling, you are selecting the whole cluster itself. Okay, that is the difference between stratified and cluster sampling. Cluster sampling is more economical because you are just selecting one cluster, you don't need to go to each and every cluster. But if the population is heterogeneous, then it is better you select one from each cluster. You will get more varieties. So stratified will work best. But in case of homogeneous, you don't need to do that. You just can select one cluster. Okay. So depending on what is your purpose, what is your choice, what you want to know, you can select which sampling you want to do. Everyone has its own advantages and disadvantages. Fine. So we have completed probability sampling. There are many other techniques. These are mainly popular, so we will study about this. Okay, you just have to know the basics like how we can choose samples, the data. Okay. Next one is non-probability sampling. What is non-probability sampling? I have already told you. This is not random. Okay. How? See, I say the types, then you will be able to understand. First one is convenience sampling. Convenience sampling means who are easiest to reach. Suppose the teacher comes and he says that in the first bench there are 10 people. He asks questions from them. Okay, that is convenient for him. Like in your town, you want to ask about the average age of the people. So you just go to first 10 houses and you make an average. That is convenient for you. This is known as convenience sampling. These sampling techniques generate bias. Next, purposive sampling and judgmental sampling. Purposive sampling and judgmental sampling, in both cases, researcher uses their own judgment. Okay, but in purposive sampling, it is mainly focused on the purpose. Based on that purpose, they select participants. But in case of judgmental sampling, it's mainly relies on researchers' subjective judgment. Okay, so based on their judgment, they select participants. Okay. Purposive sampling mainly focused on the purpose of the study. Judgmental sampling mainly focused on the researcher's judgment. Okay. Next one is snowball sampling. Snowball sampling means it's like suppose you select 5 people from here. The inspector selects 5 people and he tells them that you bring your 5 friends. Each of you go and bring one more friends. Then 5 more friends will come. So now he can get total 10 students. It's like snowball. When it will roll, it will gather more snow and it will become a bigger snowball like this. Okay, so the participants will bring more participants. They will bring more participants. Okay, this is known as snowball sampling. This is kind of convenient but mainly prone to research bias because everyone will bring their friends. Friends means they know kind of similar things, so you will not get that exact result. Okay, if you have chosen 5 already intelligent people, they will also bring their intelligent friends, so you won't be able to understand what is the average performance of the class. Okay, anyway, every technique has its own benefits. Like it is kind of efficient. You don't have to choose 10 people. You can just select 5 people. Okay. Next one is voluntary sampling. That means now suppose if the inspector goes and announce in the class that I want 10 people who are ready to answer my questions. Now suppose 10 people voluntarily comes that sir we are ready to face your questions. Okay. This is known as voluntary sampling. This is doesn't look so easy, but it may happen. So that is what known as voluntary sampling. Okay. So these are like non-probability sampling because here you are not selecting them randomly. Instead, you have a method of selecting. So this is known as non-probability sampling. But when you are selecting randomly, that is known as probability sampling. These are the two types of sampling we can use. And it has many applications. I have written a few. And what are the best practices? It's like whatever we have discussed, that is the practice. First, define the population. Like for in this case, I have 100 people. If you want to know the average age, then the population is your town people. Next, what will be the right sampling method? It differs from what you are expecting. The third is determine the sample size. Like here, 10 is our sample size. Okay. Next, implement randomness. For probability sampling, automatically you will get randomness. Randomness is better, it gives you less bias. Next one, monitor and document. Okay. So these are the things. And what are the challenges? Bias. Obviously, first challenge is that you can get bias result. Sampling errors, because there may be variability in sample selection. Okay. Next, non-response. Some participants may not respond well. They may respond different. So these are the things. Okay. So we have studied everything about sampling. These things, I think, quite enough for moving forward. Okay, so we'll meet soon. Bye. Happy learning.